Hey everyone, it's Ben Hardy here, and in today's video we're going to be going over the all-new Lotus Emira, and I'm probably not pronouncing that correctly. Let me know in the comment section down below exactly how you pronounce it. But anyways, in today's video we're going to go over the specifications for this new Lotus, then we're going to get into whether or not it's really all that important, and then we'll finish things off with whether or not you should look into purchasing one. With all that being said, let's get into the video. Now, let's get into the specs with this all-new Lotus. So first off, just like the Evora, it sits on a bonded aluminum chassis with a bunch of fiberglass bodywork, and this is just to keep weight down with the car, and it's actually going to weigh around 3,100 pounds, so really light sports car slash kind of like, I guess, entry-level supercar, at least from the aesthetics. But aside from that, it's a little bit longer than the Evora, but the wheelbase is the same. And speaking of, I guess, the exterior of the car and the looks, I think this looks absolutely fantastic. The front end kind of, I guess, looks a little bit Ferrari-ish, if that makes sense. And then when you go to the back end, kind of looks a little bit like a Porsche. I mean, let me know what you guys think, but overall, I think it's a really good-looking car from pretty much every single angle. And Lotus is well known for making really good-looking cars. Now, aside from that, if we actually pop to the interior of this car, they're updating quite a bit with this interior, so it's actually going to feel very modern on the inside. The touchscreen is over 10 inches, and then the whole digital gauge cluster is over 12 inches, and it's just going to look really cool, really modern, and it's really going to bring this up compared to what you used to get with the Evora. And I mean, it makes sense. The Evora is over 10 years old at this point, but yeah, really modern interior, and they're actually adding some like charging ports and everything, so like 12 volts, USBs, all that stuff. But I guess something that's a big change with the interior is it's no longer going to be available with a 2+2 like the Evora. You will only be able to get this with a 2-seater configuration. There is storage space behind the 2 seats, but yeah, just a 2-seater. And then also there's going to be, just like with the Evora, some extra storage space behind the engine. I guess we still don't get front storage space, but I mean, it is what it is. Now, aside from that, they're adding a bunch of safety tech with this car as well that you've never been able to get into a Lotus, like adaptive cruise control. So I think that is pretty cool overall. But yeah, just much more modern interior, and then exterior styling. Lotus always nails it with exterior styling, so it looks great on the outside. Now, the big change is with the powertrains. You can actually get 2 different powertrains. The first one is a turbocharged 2-liter 4-cylinder from AMG. It puts out 360 horsepower, and it's going to be paired to a dual-clutch automatic transmission. And this is like the entry-level powertrain that's going to come with this car. And I think that's pretty cool that they're, you know, taking a powertrain from AMG and throwing it in a Lotus. I think it'll be quite an interesting experience, right? Because it's going to be turbocharged, so it's not going to have like a super linear power band and all that, and it'll be pretty interesting with how it drives. And then the other engine is still that supercharged 3.5 liter V6 that's a Toyota V6 actually. It's going to have about 400 horsepower, so like the entry-level Evora, the Evora 400 that came out a few years ago. And I imagine they'll slowly increase the horsepower over time, but that's what we get for now. And then this engine's still paired to a 6-speed manual or a 6-speed automatic. Go for the manual. The automatic is not great. That dual clutch with AMG is going to be fantastic, but the automatic you get with the Camry V6, don't do it. It's super outdated, definitely not worth it. But again, this will be pretty interesting because the car will feel significantly different with these 2 different powertrains. You've got one that is turbocharged, small displacement, and then you've got a larger displacement, supercharged engine, somewhat similar horsepower figures, but it's really going to drive significantly different depending on the powertrain you get. And also with the transmissions, right? Manual or a torque converter automatic, but I don't even want to think about that one, versus a dual clutch automatic. It'll be pretty interesting to see what happens with that. But yeah, those are the basic specs with this new Evora. Obviously, it's still going to be rear-wheel drive, all that kind of stuff, and then it's still going to be mid-engine. None of that is changing. And then if you guys are wondering in terms of pricing, they haven't released anything yet, but expect it to start somewhere in the $70,000 range, and then fully loaded, it'll probably crack 6 figures, kind of like what the Evora does right now. And so yeah, that's pretty much everything that we know so far on this new Lotus. And I'm going to try to say it again, Emira, I don't know. I don't even know how to pronounce things. But yeah, pretty exciting. Now, is this new Lotus important? And it's actually really important for Lotus because this is the last gas-powered Lotus that is being built. So Lotus basically announced this car, and then they said this is the last new car we will be releasing that'll be powered via gas. everything in the future is going to be electric, which is pretty interesting. But something that's interesting about this car is it is not going to be available to be converted to a hybrid. It wasn't built like that, and so they'll probably go from having this be gas powered to fully electric in the future. So if you want one of these with a gas engine, you're going to want to probably get one pretty quick. But aside from that, I mean, this is the first new Lotus we've gotten in like, what, a decade pretty much, because the Evora came out forever ago, like a decade ago, and then the Elise and Exige, I mean, those are even older, right? They slowly change the cars over time, but they don't really release an all-new car like this. And obviously, Lotus does have some money being injected into it, and so that's helping them do something like this. So I think it's pretty exciting overall. But something that's more important is this is going to be a real competitor to the Porsche Cayman. So the problem with the current Lotus Evora is it's just a little bit too expensive to compete with the Cayman, right? It's in that like 6-figure price range for most of the cars that are for sale brand new, and you can get a Cayman S in the $70,000 price range, and so it's not really competitive price-wise. It's kind of more in that Porsche 911 range, whereas with this new version, obviously it's not a new version, it's an all-new car, it's going to compete more directly with the Cayman because it's got that lower cost engine from AMG, and so it's going to make it so it's a little bit more competitive price-wise with the Cayman. And I think it's a really good competitor because most people that buy Caymans actually don't get a manual. Sadly, they do get the automatic, and this one has a dual clutch automatic, so transmission-wise they'll be pretty similar. Power output-wise, this has more power than the Cayman. And so it'll be, it'll be pretty interesting because people obviously will be, okay, do I want to go with Porsche that has been around for a long time and is kind of, I guess, more well known, or do I want to go for the crazy brand that isn't as well known, that I'm not as sure about the reliability, but it looks way better than the Cayman. I mean, road presence with this car is just going to be absolutely insane. So yeah, I think the fact that this is the last gas-powered Lotus, pretty interesting, and then also the fact that this is a real Porsche Cayman competitor, not just from a technical point, but also from a price point perspective, it can actually compete against the Cayman. So I think it's just really important overall. Now, let's get into whether or not you should buy this, and it just depends on what you're looking for, obviously. So if you are looking into purchasing a Porsche Cayman, I would wait for this car to come out and see if you can, I mean, Lotus dealers, I'm sure they let people drive these cars. I would see if you can drive one of these once they come in. Apparently this is going to be a 2022 model year, so it's like we're not super far off from these cars being here. I would drive one, and you might find that you like this car more than the Cayman. And again, it just gives you something a little bit more unique, right? Because there's so many Porsches out there versus Lotuses, right? You very rarely see them, and so it's just got so much more road presence. It's just something that's a little bit different, a little bit more exciting, and they've really updated this car a massive amount compared to the Evora, and so it's actually going to feel like a nice modern car on the interior. And so I don't think that you're going to get that same feeling you got with the Evora, where you get this really cool stylistic car that drives amazing, but then like you kind of concede because you don't get a really modern interior, and you got to deal with Lotus reliability and all that kind of stuff, which the cars are actually really reliable, but there are some things you have to deal with. Whereas it looks like this car is a lot more buttoned down, and so you probably won't have to deal with that stuff nearly as much. And so I think it's just going to be a much better car overall, right? It's going to be a little bit more robust and reliable, from at least the sounds of it, and especially the fact that they're using that AMG engine. That engine actually is really good. But on top of that, just bringing up the interior, making it more modern, all that kind of stuff. So I think it's just a really well-rounded package overall. And so if you're looking for a fun mid-engine sports car in that price range, I would definitely check one of these out, and I'd get one before they obviously get rid of the gas-powered ones. I'm actually pretty interested in this car myself personally. I'm gonna kind of wait and see how things go in terms of like the tests on this car and everything. I want to see exactly how it drives before I jump into one, but I think it's pretty exciting, and I've always wanted to own a Lotus, and I think that this is actually going to be the one to own. But that's going to sum things up for today's video. If you're stopping in for the first time, I'd really appreciate it if you'd subscribe, and we'll see you guys in the next video.